welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be making 10 cards and we're going to be using different elements from this Finding Paradise set from Dovecraft. I think a lot of us have some of these sets where we've bought papers that combine with like toppers and ephemera and stuff like that. And so I thought I'd do a video about kind of combining all those things into cards to give you some ideas of what you could do with your collections. So I really love this collection. I've just received this, so I just started on the maker team for DRK Crafts, and so I got a £30 voucher to spend on their website. It is so reasonable. All of this costs less than £11. I'm just going to show you all the things that are here. So these are some foam stickers, some frames. I really love those. I'm going to use a couple of those today. This really cute little stamp set. I think this was like 62p. It was so reasonable. I'm not going to use that today, but I will use that on a different video. We've got some transfers. We've got these cute ephemera. So you get 16 pieces in here. So you get 4 of each. Some of mine are out, like ready to make cards with. So you get 4 each of these designs. Then again, you get 4 each of these as well in the carrot topper sets. You can see they're really just bright, fun things to use. That's what really attracted me to this, just how bright and fun the images are. And I purposefully got both the 6x6 and the 12x12 paper pack that coordinate, because I think it's really nice to use different scales of prints together. So I'm just going to show you how to do that today as well. So the prints are the same in both, obviously the smaller one's scaled down. So to give you a comparison, this is the scale of the print in this pack and this is the scale of the print in this pack. So I'm just going to quickly flick through the prints in the bigger pack so that you can see them. These gorgeous flamingos, we've got really nice geometric patterns, we've got these leaves on the pink, and the colours are so lovely and bright. We've got leaf prints, we've got lemons, we've got this like tiger print, we've got like Dixie florals, we've got words, we've got these large florals. I think that's actually my favourite piece, so pretty. We've got these lovely patterns, and then we've got the parrots. So you get 36 sheets in this pack, so you get 3 sheets each of the 12 designs in this pack. And then in the smaller pack you get 48 sheets, so you get 4 sheets each of the 12 designs. So all of the cards that we're going to make today are easy to create, but some are more worked into than others. So particularly towards the end we'll do some that like a shaker card and things like that are still easy to create but take a little more work. So I've got these 2 pieces. These are both from the small paper pack, and I've cut them to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than the card front, and essentially I just laid this where I wanted it and then cut the paper to the size so that it would be across these 2 points. I'm going to glue those onto the card, and then I'm going to glue this piece. I've just got a slim strip of the pink cardstock and go across here. This is the Melon Mambo from Stampin' Up. And the card blank, by the way, is a UK A6 card blank, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 7/8 inches. So then I'm just going to add on this topper. So like I said, these first few are going to be super simple. Then we're going to work our way towards an aperture card, a shaker card, which is still going to be easy to create, but not quite as simple. And then I really like this birthday wishes set from Alex Siberia Designs, so I'm going to use that for my sentiments today. So I think I'm going to use that happy and then this birthday. And you can see with this set there's so many happies and birthdays, and you can do let's celebrate and stuff, that you can really mix and match all the fonts and things. So I'm going to heat emboss that in with white embossing powder. So I'm going to use this Wow Bright White Superfine embossing powder today. And I'm going to stamp the parts of the sentiment one at a time so that I can get them in the position that I want them. Then I've cut that down and I'm just going to pop that up on some foam pads. So there's our first card finished. So for this next card, I've got this dark green cardstock, and this piece measures 3 by 3¼ inches, and I'm going to use that same stamp set, and I'm just going to use this happy birthday, and I'm going to pop that along the bottom of here. And again, I'm going to heat it, emboss it in white. So I decided that this was actually slightly bigger than I needed it, so I've cut it down to 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to glue this onto that piece. That's one of the toppers from the topper pack. And then I've got this top folding, I think this cardstock's called Pine Needles. Again, it's from Paperbox Limited. And I've made an A6 card blank, and then I've just cut a 2-inch piece off the end here. And then I've cut 2 of the pieces. These ones are both from the larger paper pack. And I've cut them so that this one is 1/4 of an inch smaller than here, and that this one is 1/4 of an inch smaller this way, so that it just fits a bit under here. And then if you wanted, you could also put a piece of white cardstock here to add your sentiment. So I'm going to glue those on. I really love using all these like bright colours. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this onto here. So I want it central on the card. So I'm going to add foam pads behind this bit and just stick it to this side of the card. So I'm going to just leave my place there. I'm going to put this foam pad on the edge there so that I know that I don't want any foam pads past that place. So then I really like this style of card because just taking the end off really adds a bit of dimension to it. So that's that one done. So for this one, I'm using the smaller and the larger flamingo print. So I'm going to use the smaller one in the background, and you can see I've fussy cut the flamingo from the larger print. And it's really nice because you've obviously got the exact same flamingo. It goes absolutely perfectly, but just having those 2 different sizes of print really works nicely. So I've got a 5-inch square card blank, and that is Flirty Flamingo cardstock. And then I've cut this piece of paper that I'm sticking on to 4 3/4 inches square. And then I've cut 2 circles, one from yellow cardstock, that's the Pale Yellow Matte from Paperbox Limited, and this one obviously matches the card base. And I just cut them so that the main part of the flamingo fits on them. So I'm going to glue those together, and then you'll see I've cut this whole flamingo out of here, and then I've also cut another one, but I've just cut out these flowers and the top part of the flamingo. So I'm going to pop that up on there so that we've then got a bit more of a dimensional image. So then you've got that like that, and then I'm going to glue that onto my circles, and then I can glue the circles onto the card. So then I'm going to use some spare pink cardstock, and I'll stamp this happy birthday on. And this time I don't want a chunky sentiment, so I'm going to actually cut around the sentiment. Then I'm going to add some piece of foam pad behind there. So then how cute does that look? So for this one, I've used the 2 sizes of prints in a different way, and I've cut a strip at the top that's about 1.5 inches from the smaller lemon print, and a strip from the bottom It's the larger lemon print, and I've just left a gap in the middle, and that's where I'm going to put my sentiment. So I'm going to pop in "It's Your" there, and then I'm going to put "Day" underneath. So that's going to go onto this lemon paper. And I'm going to heat emboss this bit with white and this bit with black. So then I can add on my papers. I like to do the heat embossing first, just in case anything goes wrong with it, then I've not ruined the papers as well. And then what I would usually do with a card like this, when I'm ready to send it, is I would put a white mat inside for somewhere to write, and then maybe I'd stamp "Celebrate" or "Happy Birthday" onto there, so that it kind of carries on this "It's Your Day" thing inside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this piece of ephemera and I'm just going to add foam pad to the back. So then we've got this cute card. So for the next one, I am going to use another 5x5 inch card blank with Melon Mambo cardstock from Stampin' Up. Then I've got this piece, and this one's from the larger paper pack. And then I've cut this piece from the large flamingo paper, and I thought it'd be really cute to frame it. I've specifically cut it so that it frames the flamingo. And to do that, I laid the frame on the pattern paper, decided which piece I wanted to frame, then drew around here, cut it out, and then I know that it fits my frame and that the frame's going to go exactly where I want it. You see how that just fits really nicely in the frame. So then I'm just going to add a bit of glue to the back of the frame. You can see these are made of a nice thick cardboard, so they're nice and sturdy, and they also add that bit of dimension as well. And then I don't really want this bit here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this over there. I'll do that in a minute. So let's add this to the card. And I think actually I might add this smile rub-on to the frame. You actually get 2 of these rub-on pieces in the pack. So actually I've only just decided to add this rub-on on. If I'd have thought about it before, I would have added it on before I'd added this to the card, just in case anything goes wrong. Let's just take off the backing, and then I can add this on where I want it. And you just want to rub that over really well with the lollipop stick that's included, just to make sure it's all really nicely transferred over. And if you peel it up slowly, you can kind of see if there's any spots that you've missed, and just go over them again. So I really like that, but I want it to stand out a bit more, so I'm actually just going to just draw around it with the black pen. So then I'm just going to add on that leaf in the corner, and then we've got a cute card. So for my next card, I've just taken some strips of the different papers, and they're all 1 inch thick, and you can see again by using different sizes of the same papers, they kind of go together but still look different. I wanted them all to have a cream base so that they looked like they belonged together, but I did also want them to be different. So I'm going to pop up this parrot topper. And I'm going to use this Wild at Heart foam sticker. And I want it to go there, so I want this side to be popped up more. So I'm going to pop a foam pad just behind that end. So there's that card finished. So then I've got another A6 card blank, same Melon Mambo colour that we've been using a lot. And then I'm just going to add this piece of paper. So this one is from the large pack. And honestly, these 10 cards have barely touched the sides of all those supplies that I showed you at the moment. I'll get so much more out of this. So then I've got a piece of this large floral paper. So that is 1 3/4 by 4 inches. And I'm just going to back that with some more of this cardstock. And then I've got a piece of this parrot paper and again some more pink cardstock, but I want to cut a bit of a tail into this one. So I'm just going to cut up the middle. I always think this is the easiest way, because then if you cut from the corner into that middle, you're much more likely to get a tail that looks quite even. So then I'm going to glue that onto the pink cardstock, and then I'm going to cut the pink into the similar tail. So then I'm going to use this Celebrate stamp from that same stamp set that we've been using, and I'm going to white heat emboss it again. Then I'm going to glue these bits down. Then I'm popping that up on some foam pads, and then I'm just going to put a thin strip of foam behind the Celebrate. And then I'm going to add to the tropical vibes by popping this up here. Then there's that card. So then for this next card, I've got an A6 pine needles card blank, and then I've got these two pieces. They're both 1/4 of an inch narrower than the card blank, and then this pink piece is 5.5 inches tall, and this is 2 inches tall. And I'm just going to pop them together with a bit of like removable tape, because I want to cut them at the exact same angle. So I'm going to cut from the corner of here up at an angle. Then I can remove this tape, and I'll use this piece on something else, and then I'll use these two pieces for this card. So I'm going to glue those onto my card base. Another thing you could do if you wanted to make 2 of these is to cut both pieces to 5.5 inches, and then you could cut them both at one time, and you could use the pieces that were left over for another card. So for example, that would be the top of the other card, and then there'd be some floral bottom of the other card. So then I've got a piece of the pine needles cardstock. I'm going to heat emboss in white again, and I'm going to use the Celebrate stamp again. So then I've got these flowers that I have fussy cut from the large paper pad, and so I'm going to pop those and the sentiment up on foam pads. So then there's that card. So then for this next card, I'm going to create a little shaker. So I've got, this is Calypso Coral cardstock that I've used to make a 5 by 5 inch card blank. That Calypso Coral is from Stampin' Up. And then I've got some of the smaller leaf print paper here. So I'm going to add that on. So to create my sentiment, I'm just going to heat emboss the same Celebrate stamp that we used for the last card in black onto some cream cardstock, and I'm going to cut around that. Then let's go ahead and make our shaker element. So I'm going to add some double-sided tape to the back of this. So then I've got a piece of acetate that I've cut down to just slightly smaller than the frame. I'm just going to stick that on the back. And then I'm going to put some foam tape around there. And I'm going to need to make sure that these foam strips butt right up against each other so that the shaker stuff that I put in doesn't fall out. So then I'm just going to pop these little bits along here. This bit needs to be sealed, this bit doesn't, because that's not where I'm going to put the shaker bits. So I'm just popping those along there so it pops the whole frame up evenly. So then I've got this melon like shaker mix from Little Things by Lucy's Cards, and I'm going to pop some of those right in the middle of my card. I'm going to make sure as much as possible that they're up the right way, because there's not going to be much room behind my shaker, so they're not going to all flip over. And then I'm also going to add a few bits of this gold glitter. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy just to wipe the back of the acetate to try and help all the glitter not stick to it. I've actually realised I was going to pop it onto here instead. So let's try and slide all that onto here. So this is actually a piece of the larger leaf print paper, because I thought it'd be nice to use the two sizes of prints that I've cut to the same size as the frame. So now we've got this cute shaker element, so I can glue that to my card. So then I'll pop some of the foam tape behind the Celebrate and pop that down the bottom here. And then I'm going to pop these up on foam pads. So then there's that shaker done. And then for my final card, I'm going to create an aperture card. So I'm going to lightly tape this front piece into place where I want it on the card. So it's a 5-inch square card blank, and the mat is from the small paper pack, and that's 4 3/4 inches square. So then I've got 2 circle dies, and I'm going to take the smallest one and pop it on the centre of my card, and I'm going to cut through both the front layer and the card base with that. So then now that I've got this, I'm going to take the larger one and I'm going to place it right around that circle that I've already cut, so there's some nice spacing, and then I can cut this. And so then now we can glue this on here, and we're going to get that nice frame around the inside as well. So let's glue that on there. So then I'm going to heat emboss the Happy Birthday sentiment into the aperture. And then I can add these flowers that I've cut from the paper around the outside. So then we've got this pretty aperture card. So let's see all 10 cards we've made today. So that was the last one. So that's all 10 of today's cards. I really hope that you've enjoyed creating them with me, and that it's given you some ideas for things to do with your pattern paper packs. I'd love it if you'd let me know in the comments below which one's your favourite. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. You can find links to all the products that I've used for today's cards in the description below, and you can also find a link there to my blog. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.